South China Morning Post, 5th of November 2023, trade between China and Colombia is geared toward cattle, but as Beijing gains traction in Latin America, will the U.S. have a cow? China's commerce depends on China's ability to maintain its economic clout, which is questionable given that China is the most despised country in the world. According to the Colombian consul general in Hong Kong this week, the country's vital cattle sector has unrealistic expectations. It anticipates a rush of growth in exports to China due to agreements between the parties. He also predicted that China's smartphone market would soar in the South American nation. Experts predict China's influence in Latin America will grow due to the strengthened trade relations. The continent has traditionally been more closely aligned with the United States, China's biggest trading partner. The Colombian Consul General Luis Fernando Orozco Barrera told the Post on Tuesday that the country's beef exports to China will increase due to a bilateral agreement signed in September that addresses the cleanliness requirements of exportable farm products. According to him, little under 1 million people, or roughly 7% of the country's total, are employed in the cattle sector in Colombia. Approximately 45,000 tons of beef worth $200 million were exported by Colombia last year. Additionally, as of August of this year, its 2023 global beef shipments accounted for 22,000 tons, valued at $90 million. He stated, about export projections to China, we anticipate exporting at least 2,500 tons per month, or nearly $15 million. Citing data from government and industry associations, Orozco stated, to give some perspective to the importance of this, keep in mind that, in macroeconomic terms, Colombian livestock represents 3.3 times more than the coffee sector, and we are the third largest global coffee producer. Although China now imports beef from the US, Brazil, Australia, and other nations, Zhao Shijin, a business professor at Renmin University, believes that the market can handle more. What we currently get doesn't feed the entire market from a demand standpoint, Zhao clarified. According to Colombia, 25% of global imports of beef come from China, making it the top beef importing nation in the world, according to Orozco. On October 25, Colombian President Gustavo Petro signed 12 agreements for economic cooperation with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping in Beijing. According to Orozco, one is sharing planning and guidance for the next 5 years in agriculture. Additionally, the two nations elevated their bilateral ties to the strategic partnership status last month. This designation often refers to managing relationships through unique information sharing and problem-solving frameworks. According to Orozco, Colombia is a developing market for consumer electronics like cell phones in China. Over the past 10 years, Colombia has seen an economic boom that has increased the discretionary income of many of its 52 million residents. South Korea's Samsung, Xiaomi, and Oppo were Colombia's number 2 and number 3 smartphone vendors in the first quarter of 2023. According to market research firm Counterpoint, the two Chinese brands accounted for 28% of the market combined between January and March. Orozco states, the tech sectors, particularly computers and mobile phones, play key roles in the bilateral trade exchange. He mentioned that Colombia has 71 million mobile phone users. He continued, if we also consider that we are about to hold the public bid for 5G networks in the country in 2024, then all of this makes Colombia very attractive. China exported $15.56 billion of the $22.64 billion in two-way trade between the two nations last year. Among the 12 agreements signed on October 25 are others that address decarbonization, water conservation, and the growth of Colombia's digital economy. Like most of Latin America, Colombia has always leaned toward the U.S. as its primary source of trade due to its proximity and historical ties. However, China is negotiating another free trade agreement with a group of South American countries, including Argentina and Brazil, the largest economy in the area. China has already inked one with Chile. Due to record import-export receipts, China was Colombia's second-largest commercial partner after the United States last year. According to Enrico Cao, an associate researcher with expertise in Asia at the Taiwan Strategy Research Association think tank, Colombia will be able to diversify trade opportunities by building alternatives to its traditional and long-term, nearly exclusive partnership with the U.S. as the major trading partner thanks to the 12 agreements signed with China. He claimed Colombia's diversification will increase its negotiating leverage in future trade agreements. From a political standpoint, China's increasing sway over the Latin American region appears to indicate not only an effort to broaden trade prospects, but also a possible need to release Latin American nations from their excessive dependence on the U.S., Cao stated.